Hello to everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. I'm Dr. Manuela Marescotti, and I have interviewed in this video Dr. Raghavendra Palankar. He's a senior editor at Nature Nanotechnology and will share with us his experience before becoming an editor and as an editor at the moment. He will also give his point of view about the skills important to work on if you want to become an editor or join this world of scientific publishing, and also an advice at the end, so watch the video until the end if you want to publish a quality paper. The aim of this interview is to know better the world of academic publishing, that for many researchers is still a very unknown world. Enjoy! Okay, so now officially, thank you very much.
Thanks for the invitation.
For joining me in this chat about your role within Nature Nanotechnology as one of the editors and how you got there. So I have a few questions for you today. So first, I will start from to give context to you. So which is your university education? Yeah.
Right. Let me just start by saying that thanks for this kind invitation. And I believe it's going to be a fun conversation between us. And I think there is not much to talk. But with your first question, what's my educational background? I come from a pretty interdisciplinary, let's say, education per se. So I have my undergrads in life sciences, chemistry as a combination, which I did it in India. Then I went for a master's where I did it in botany, in plant sciences. The funny part about it was that there was a specialization in biotechnology. I thought at that time it was cool, and which it was. So I joined that. Then I went to industry. Then I came to Germany to do my PhD, and it was in biochemical engineering, where I worked on material sciences, cells, optics, and other immunological stuff. So my background to start with is highly interdisciplinary itself. So that is pretty much about it. And that pretty much fits into what I'm doing now in the journal as well. Yeah.
Okay. So, interdisciplinary, also a bit international, because you moved also among different
little bit, yeah,
countries. Yeah. And so basically,
yeah,
what is so I think this led so a career path. I think PhD is always a bit a mix of university student, but also a start of a proper job in academia. From the industry, you went into you have been in academia, or you went straight away into the jury?
So, I mean, when I finished my first university degree, the highest university degree, like the master's, I didn't have a plan to come to academia. I wanted to start in industry, make some money, and I joined a biotechnology company, which was basically developing, let's say, in vitro diagnostic kits based on different formats. I was a research chemist there, working on nanomaterials. And at some point I thought, okay, this is 2 years of this is enough. I need to find something more exciting. So I started applying for, PhD programs, master's programs to see what I can do next. So I ended up in Germany, and that's where I picked up my PhD in biochemical engineering. But and that was the beginning of my entry into the academic career again. And then I did 2 postdocs and different institutes. My first postdoc was in Max Planck Institute for Biophysical Chemistry in Göttingen. And then I moved to Greifswald for a second postdoc, where I again worked on the next level. That was one level before me becoming a junior group leader or a junior PI as such. So I terminated my academic career after I finished my junior PI. I didn't want to go for a faculty position at all. So, and in all these years, I was pretty much, let's say, embedded into the academic system. But at some point, I think it was fate that kind of, it's not that fate, but you planned it, You plan it in a way that, you want to put a full stop to that academic career and come back to the industry. And publishing was something I was always interested in as a kid, because I used to spend a lot of time in libraries. I was fascinated by books and publishing at that time.
Okay, so the publishing came from an interest that you had regardless your...
Yes, yes.
your...
I used to spend quite a lot of time in libraries, just to flip, pages and see what's in books,
Okay.
what's in journals, everything. I think it was there somewhere, I would say.
But but before your application to Nature, you did not have any other, besides, I suppose you have been a reviewer maybe while being a researcher,
Yes,
but yeah, but you did not
yeah, of
have
course.
editorial experiences. That's my question.
Not in a professional sense. I've been a peer reviewer for a long time. I think the training started pretty early in my career, even as a PhD, that our supervisors would give us manuscript and say, what do you think about it? At that time, I didn't think myself as a referee, but I would give my opinion, and then as I moved on to my postdoc and later stages, I used to get peer review requests, which I accepted most of the time, at least one per month, so that I get some experience in it. And then you learn through the process, and it helps. And that was, let's say, part of the publishing system you become as you progress into the career, in academic career.
So basically, and this, all these basically long reviewer experience that you got, it helped you in the selection path, your application steps to Nature. Do you think, or?
I think it does help. It gives you some idea how research is conducted and how manuscripts are written, how data is presented, or how a concept is put in front of readers. The whole idea of communicative research is quite fascinating. It's just not about doing it, because as you progress in your academic career, you more or less become a manager. You sit in an office, you write grants, you write papers, you supervise people. You less and less do experimental work. You could still do it. I was still doing it, but more or less you are molded in that direction. And that helps definitely.
All that together, let's say, writing the grants, reviewing.
I mean, I was also reviewing grants as well for grant agencies. So that's a different ball game there. You have different criteria out there. For manuscripts, it's a different criteria, but yeah.
Okay, because I'm asking these questions because I had a bit of a different path, just because I went to a journal starting as editorial assistant while I was a postdoc of the Nature family, that I know that has a different selection system at the beginning. But I heard several people asking me, how you can enter, can start this world. So basically, you have to, I think what is important is to build up an experience, of a number of things, like reviewing, that make you be like critical, I think, in reading the research that you're reading, having a feeling.
Very much true. I mean, I totally agree on these points. But journals or publishing companies, they have their different ways of recruiting. But the bottom line is, if you want to become a professional editor like me, you always have to have a PhD and at least some years of postdoctoral experience. This is what you need to enter. But then again, you compete with applicants. Then the journal, based on their criteria, they're gonna ask you for an interview. They're gonna put you through some tests, which you have to clear. And then you have to convince that you are good enough for the job. I mean, like any other job or any other application. But it does help to have a solid overview of the field in which you are working in. But the type of journal that I'm working now, like Nature Nanotechnology, I mean, this journal is one of the most interdisciplinary journal. And if you want to come and work with us, you've got to have a pretty broad overview, also in-depth overview of the field that you've been specializing. And this is exciting because every day there is something new that comes on your desk, something that is exciting. And you have to be ready for that adventure. You have to, wake up and look I say, hey, look, I'm going to have a fantastic manuscript in front of me. So that excitement you need and curiosity. You have to be curious.
That's to say, I totally share this thought, because also in my case, I think what I say, compared to when I was a researcher, where you were, of course, reading, but always in some way things related to your research project. Here you can expand your knowledge. So, you can get excited about projects and you say, oh my gosh, I would like to read the following paper to see how this story.
Right. I mean, this is something very important when you grow up as a scientist, professionally, even in academic system, you always keep your mind open. And that is possible all the time, but it takes a lot of energy to keep a track of a wide range of topics, wide range of field. But I think I was kind of lucky in that sense, because every time I moved from one institution to another institution or one lab to another lab, my PIs were supportive, and they always allowed me to do research in the fields that I was interested, or to highlight some aspects using different technologies so that I could bring in interdisciplinary ideas, and they always appreciated it. So I was lucky to follow up with my dreams and aims of doing things my way. And that also helped me to shape my CV in that direction.
Okay, I
so
see.
yeah
So okay, so this is the pre-editor.
Exactly.
So, and now that you are so in your role of so senior editor, which are your main tasks in general? What you are expected to do?
So in our journal, we have associate editors, senior editors, and chief editors. So generally, the tasks of associate and senior editor, they are pretty much the same. So usually the day starts by assessing manuscripts that are assigned to you. So the way it works is, you have a bunch of manuscripts, so they come in from different directions, different fields. So you have editors which are specialized in handling these topics, and we meet, we discuss about these manuscripts, who's going to handle this, who's going to get this one, and these are distributed. And then the manuscript comes to me. I read the manuscript to understand what's going on here. What's the story about? What's new here? And then you decide whether you want to send this manuscript to peer review or not. Or you can always tell authors that, this is, let's say, below our bar, and I can suggest them. You can go to our sister journals. So this kind of a pipeline that you set up. But the whole job is about understanding the science behind the paper that comes to you at the end. And you have editorial criteria depending on how high you want to set the bar on a particular field. A journal like us, we are always interested in something that's breakthrough knowledge, something that's exciting for the field, and something that is novel as well. And then you start looking at how solid are the let's say the data that you are showing or presenting there, and how the whole story is about, a manuscript comes to you, you assess it based on your journal's editorial criteria, and then you decide whether you want to send it out for review or not. So this is basically my job. And and the criteria that you set is based on the field, based on the type of claims that you make, how novel the study is, how applicable it is. So we are a technology journal. We are always not only looking at novelty, but we are also looking at what it is useful for, what you can do with it. If the applications that you claim to be, whether they are interesting broadly, or how overarching your data are, so that you can bring it to another dimension to it. So many things.
So, and
quite tough.
Yeah, of course. And then I think any journal has always a bit of like a name, like, so in some way the papers should always in some ways go within that fit in that scope, actually. Sorry, I said aim, I meant scope of the journal.
Right.
But on the also another so yeah, two questions. One, why you said before that there are different editors role. Now you are a senior editor, associate editors. I don't know which is the other. I don't remember the other
Chief
editor.
editor.
Chief editor.
Chief editor.
So chief
Yeah.
editor, I suppose that is the one that manages. Like it's more on the top of the scale.
Management of the journal, yeah, exactly.
So which is the difference then between a senior editor and associate editor? In at least
I think it's just the experience. I think
okay.
in Nature portfolio or Springer Nature, you can become a senior editor after 2 years of being an associate editor. Usually you start as an associate editor when you come into the publishing industry fresh. If you have a few years of experience, then you can start at a senior level. That's pretty much about it. And then after a few years of experience, you can become a chief editor or move into other, let's say, directions within the publishing industry or move beyond it. So there are lots of options here.
Okay. So when you said that you meet with the team, with all the editors, are these meetings? Sorry, my questions are also a bit technical because I, of course, working in another journal, I'm curious to see the different dynamics, how they work. So you meet in person, you meet regularly every day, you meet remotely. How does it work?
Right, that's a good question. So in our team, we are 6 editors. 2 are based in Shanghai, 3 are in Berlin,
in fact, and 1 is in London. The website, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And this means you tend to meet regularly online or virtually, and it works fine. And you can meet twice or thrice in a week to assign manuscripts that they come to you. And it's always good to have all editors sitting around, in any given platform, so that you can see what are the types of manuscripts that are there on the table on that day. And then you discuss between the editors, who is going to handle which manuscript, because which editor handles what type of manuscripts. And then you can discuss, whether we assign one specific editor here and then a secondary editor, depending on the manuscript goes. And then we also discuss, that we will share the notes. We always discuss between editors if there is a manuscript in which part of it covers your domain and the other part covers other editor's domain. It can be even discussed between more than 2 editors time to time. So those are the kind of regular meetings that we have between the team. And then you also meet with your manager or the chief editor once a week for weekly updates. There you discuss your overall strategy, your overall progress, what's in your mind, what you plan to do in the next few months, few weeks, regarding how do you want to develop the journal. Lots of exciting things are there. Yeah. Housekeeping.
Yeah, of course. And also, I always heard that, like, in terms that I talking sometimes to people, that you are also expected to attend the conferences several times per year, I think, to be updated with the
yes, of course. And this is the integral part of the job. You always have to be, you have to keep keep an open eye, open ears, be together with your community that you represent within the journal to understand what line of thinking they're going, what is new within the community, what do they expect from the journals. Lots of things happening there, and we are always, let's say, make sure that we are in most of the important conferences that happen around the world. And this is one of the nicest part of our job. You can, even though you are not in academia, but you are somehow within the academia, kind of embedded, because you get to attend all these different conferences. I don't get bored with conferences at all, because I go to 4 or 5 different conferences and all of them are different. I get to see totally different faces all the time. and this is something you don't get bored at all. Being in academia, it was a bit different. You end up in the similar conference or same conferences where you would see again and again the same community, and that bubble was small. And being an editor at a journal like where I'm working, it just opens that up. The field just
Yeah,
expands. And
yeah. And I think, yeah, what I also realized is that there is a contrast that I think gives a bit of balance between the moments where you are just basically reading the paper in front of the computer alone, with moments in some, yeah, when there is, yeah, all this interaction, yeah, in these conferences, so in these events, so this is something that I like to have both
right.
sides. If it was only reading, it would be interesting, but maybe sometimes on the human side a bit difficult. But
and also conferences are really important for us because you get to meet authors right at the conference, and you have some idea about a topic. You can discuss about it with them, and if you want to commission content like reviews, perspectives, or comments, then you can have this face-to-face conversation and recruit authors there. And if they have something in their mind, immediately they say, hey, I'm writing this, I have this on my table, would you be interested? And that's another part of our job, also including manuscripts. Most of the time in conferences, authors present their research that is in pipeline, and then you see it and you say, okay, hey, look, I would be interested in this manuscript. If you haven't submitted, please do it, and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay. So it's a way to recruit authors as well.
Also to signal the authors that we are interested in their work. Not just that you sit at their desk and you wait for the papers to come.
Okay, I see.
And it's also to share their enthusiasm. Being at the conference or meeting them, you show that you're interested in their work, and that's what we do in a journal. Publish papers or studies that are moving the field forward.
Okay, yeah, definitely, I agree. Okay, you gave so far a good idea of all the aspects of your job. And now, just going towards the conclusion, I would like to ask you two questions. One is to give to a researcher an advice if he or she wants to go towards this career, which would be where this person should start. If there is one thing or no?
There are many things, there is no one thing about this. I mean, this is something you do by choice. You have to love what you do. I have spoken to many editors over the years since I joined this industry, publishing industry, and the common line between all of us is that we love science. We are still nerds. And every time we meet, we will only discuss science like the way we used to do in the labs or in the universities. That thing doesn't change. So what I mean is that you have to have that curiosity about topics, and curiosity about science, basically, and you bring it to your job. And then, just be curious and don't be afraid to change from academia. There are so many other options out there, which are equally rewarding. Because I found, it's my personal opinion, that I found as I progressed in academic career, I found that my options became really narrow. The biggest goal there is to become a faculty member. And I didn't want to do that because I just didn't want to be a teacher at a university. I could still do research, but teaching is your responsibility. It's a major part of your job. And then I felt that my community was becoming smaller. I was more in a bubble, and it was just not intellectually, helpful for me. I wanted something more. So I thought, what would be the best? The best would be to come to or take up a job where I can still, fulfill my intellectual curiosity, but still be within the academic community in one way or other, still be able to attend conferences, listen to exciting research, and read about it, and also be a part of it from a different side.
No, I totally get it. Myself as well. I thought until I was a researcher, also because I've been working with fruit flies in the years, so it's like this becoming very good in dissecting. So it's like you become an artisan. Nothing against the artisans, but I was missing that intellectual stimulation at some point. So instead, as a, being an editor, as we said before, is like gives you much more inputs, and if you're curious, because of course you have to be, you need to be interested into this, in reading these topics.
But also, it's not only about reading. Being an editor, you have other tasks. You also have to write editorials for the journal. This means you can, sharpen your writing skills as well as critical thinking skills. You have, say, for example, you want to attract some papers in a specific topic. You have to do research about why you want to do or write an editorial around this topic. You have to convince the community that this is something that the journal is interested in. You have to be thoughtful about it. You have to be careful about what you expect from the community, and lots of ways you can contribute, not only just reading.
No, totally, I get it. It's very active as a rule in the scientific community. Totally get it. It's a lot of things.
And also you meet a lot of different, let's say, people in this kind of a job, who are at different career levels. And this is quite a dynamic job, I believe. You meet them via their paper submissions, and then their papers are published. You can see their excitement about their research being published, of course, and you share that excitement, and I'm happy about when authors say that they're happy that their paper was published.
Okay, and a very also an advice, but from another point of view, to the authors. Like have you seen something that you think that they can, I don't know, a general trend, like or things that they can, one thing that can be fixed or thought when they submit a paper?
I mean, there is no advice on a paper, I believe that every paper should be published at the end of the day in one way or other. I mean, people can also publish preprints, people can publish in journals, no doubt about it. I mean, my advice is, be true to yourself and to the data. I mean, it's about communicating science, and we have to communicate facts, what's there. And there are different ways to write a paper. There are the data can be sometimes really beautiful, but I think it also applies to me, or even applied to me when I was in academia. The data was great, but I was just unable to present it in a way that it could be communicated easily. So science is not only about doing it in the lab, it's also about the ability to communicate it through to the specific community that you're targeting for, also beyond it, because it's a record. It's a record of what you did. That record stays, and that has to be accessible. So studies have to be accessible in one way or another.
And true also for the next steps, should be like should be fact that is solidly shown for the next steps. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time.
And journals like us and Nature, we put a lot of effort in, let's say, structuring the paper at the end once it is accepted, so that it becomes more accessible. You remove hypes. You try to focus on the data itself, the results itself, how you let's say display the figures, all those things. We work on those once the manuscript is accepted. And there are cases where we also sometimes work on the entire manuscript from the beginning to the end. So that is also another part of editorial job, but this is mostly in journals like Nature research journals and Nature journals, and then depending on that level, there are varying, let's say,
understand. Okay.
So we do put considerable amount of work into it.
I can imagine. I can imagine. yeah, I understand also, yeah, for what I do, or even if I think, yeah, we don't do all that like support in, you know, like in presenting, let's say, the paper. But, you know, as you said, different journals do different kind of also tasks and relationship.
Yeah, I think it's the level of engagement that
Yeah,
differentiates us from most of the journals, you know.
yeah.
So I think that has been one of the strengths of the journals that I'm working in.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Thank you very much for
Thanks a
open
lot.
the doors on your on your role at
Yeah,
Nature Nanotechnology, and
right.
yeah, and I will. Okay, so if I will get the questions, I mean, we will find maybe the comments, or I will send them to you if you are.
Absolutely. We're very happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Thanks a lot.
and okay, and yeah, we look forward to hear, to read more about paper, to read
Yeah,
more papers about nature nanotechnology. Okay.
right. It's an exciting journal. You will always find something interesting there, you know,
Yeah, because
irrespective of
because as
which
you said,
discipline you are
it's
in.
broad, so it covers
So,
can cover different kind of disciplines. That's right. I was looking
right,
at it.
right.
Okay, so thank you again,
Excellent.
and we you
Yeah,
know,
thanks to you, Manuela.
thank you. Okay, bye to everyone.
I hope you enjoyed this chat. If you have questions for Raghav, please write them in the comments of this video, and let me know if you ever had a chat or a deep look at the work of an editor of the Nature journals. See you at the next video. Bye!